They dig so far back when looking for videos, photos. It's things that I'm like, how do you even find this stuff? How is this accessible?
Welcome back to TMZ Verified. I'm your host, Steph, and you're probably wondering, where is your host, Wild? And today I have a co-host, Chantal.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
She's our social media guru in the office. Our stories today range from a little TikTok drama to some legal stuff. Ooh. So we have a lot going on. Let's start off with Hailey Bieber exploring legal options against her online haters. Now, Hailey Bieber is fed up with some of the false narratives and rumors about her spreading online, and she's exploring ways to fight back. As we know, there's been drama about Hailey Bieber, Justin Bieber in the news on TikTok, and sources close to Hailey tell TMZ that the latest disgusting narrative online tries to paint Hailey as a bully and a stalker, and now she's considering legal action for the first time. So she's never done that before. Usually she just
She's never like hit back. She's never really given it her energy, at least publicly. So this is a huge, huge deal.
Right, and sometimes she'll go online and be like, guys, this isn't true, or she'll write like a comment back, but this legal action stuff is new. Mm-hmm. And just last week, there was a video on TikTok alleging that she liked a mean post about Selena Gomez's fiance, Benny Blanco. And now there's a 7-part series on YouTube sort of exposing with evidence that she stalked Justin Bieber prior to them being married. And I watched the entire series, so did Chantal.
Obsessed. That was literally my fixation this week.
It's very interesting. Basically, the entire series breaks down how, with evidence, with timeline, pictures, video, how Hailey sort of crafted this marriage with Justin Bieber by being a stalker.
Allegedly.
In the video.
Yeah, they say these things, and I will say they dig so far back when looking for videos, photos. It's things that I'm like, how do you even find this stuff? How is this accessible? And it's very well put together, but the claims are tea.
Yeah, they're very, very strong claims, and they're with like actual receipts, which is why I think she's threatening legal action here. But again, all alleged. In this series, the YouTuber sort of breaks down from almost to when they first met to even prior to that, like sort of like the whole narrative. And for example, the series mentions Hailey reaching out to New York fans, asking what hotel he was at. She then gets the same tattoos as Selena at one point. And the YouTube series also alleges that they wear the same outfits and post the same photos, even just hours later. Mm-hmm. So yeah, lots of things going on here. But our sources say that Hailey's sick and tired of the hateful narratives. And this time she's going to hire an attorney. And this is the same attorney that Cardi B used in her defamation case. Usually Hailey doesn't give energy to this sort of stuff, as we've talked about, but it feels like this one's different because the wrath that TikTok is giving is overwhelming.
I think people have always had thoughts about that relationship, and I think at first it was like a lot of Selena fans, and I like love Selena Gomez, but I was never somebody who thought, let me take down another woman. Let me vocally be out there like tearing Hailey down. They got married. It's their decision. Mm-hmm. But I think now even people who aren't really Selena fans are like watching this and engaging with it, and like there's an element of like people giving credence to it because of the amount of like quote unquote evidence they're including, which is probably why Hailey's now like, okay, you guys aren't just being mean. You are actually saying that this is what happened. I will say, like, watching it, like, cover to cover, basically, the old clips are definitely telling in terms of she was clearly a fan. Like, her attending Monte Carlo premiere, like, Selena's movie. Mm-hmm. I think there was a clip of her in, like, an audience of, like, a Justin Bieber show. Like, one of those, like, Today Show performances they used to do in the 2000s. Does that mean that she stalked him and then like gave him a love potion to make him fall in love with her and marry her? Like, no, I think two things can be true. Like, she can have been a fan and like showed up at these things without it being this huge calculated like master plan.
But even before the 7-part series on YouTube, right? Yeah. There's been this narrative that Selena versus Hailey, does Justin still love Selena? Like, we normally don't see that in celebrity marriages, especially when they have children, that like, oh my God, they still love their previous partner, especially with Selena still like engaged. She's fully in a relationship. Like, it's very rare to have this much emotions from fans when they're not together.
I think it's because we really grew up with them and like the
Shipped
sort
them
of
so hard. Yeah.
exactly. And it was like the young millennials, the older Gen Zs. Like we grew up with that relationship. That a part of it is also us like refusing to let go of the quote unquote good old days.
Yeah.
And being like, no, but this is like my celebrity OTP, even though they clearly weren't. Like by the end of it, at least, we're really toxic with each other.
Oh,
So I think it's like nostalgia more than it is like these two people would have been great together as adults.
And it's similar to the Taylor Swift thing where they talk in sort of secret code back in the day, and fans know that. So now everything they post is like, is this a sign to Selena? Because they used to talk back to each other in songs. Like they write songs about each other and communicate that way and
Which was
post things
so
on
cute.
Instagram. But now that they're not together, I think fans have sort of read into it. But it's definitely interesting, the 7-part series. I will say that Lisa Moore, the attorney that Cardi B also had, Hailey wants Lisa to explore legal action against like the YouTuber, but also like any false narratives. Any legal action she may be able to take against the false statements and videos about her online. So that includes the series.
That is interesting though, because I do feel like this series specifically that sort of triggered the virality of this conversation once again. And this is a legal question. I don't know. We probably asked the lawyers this, but it's like, how much can you legally pursue? Because are they saying that it did happen, or are they just presenting like, oh, Hailey was here for this, like, and kind of posing it as a question? And like, that's honestly what I'm curious to see. Like, if she does take legal action, what are the grounds?
It's interesting too, because in the series, as the YouTuber, like putting it together, like to come up with, and I wrote it down here, saying the same things in interviews in video. So there's examples. Both having a cooking show at one point, both having the same tattoo, a G, and then having a beauty brand sort of, I mean, Selena's was first. So I think it lines up really well. But again, these are all alleged statements from the series. But I think in terms of legal action, I mean, I think at some point she's just going to have to, it could be I mean, you'd have to prove it. That's the hard part about legal.
How is it defamation?
But with these examples, like, it's just hearsay, I feel like, but we'll see. Yeah.
The part of the story that I don't know if I like fully buy into, but I find interesting just as like a user engaging with content, is that people are saying that Hailey has like moved on from using Selena as a muse and instead like using Sabrina Carpenter as a muse.
Right, I've seen that.
So the backstory of this is that Justin Bieber allegedly started following Sabrina Carpenter on Instagram. And then like a few hours later, allegedly a few hours later, Hailey Bieber had posted like a selfie of her to her stories with like a blue eye filter. And like Sabrina has blue eyes. And like users have pulled pictures of Hailey, posting things in similar poses or similar outfits as Sabrina. I honestly think it's like stretching, because I do think aesthetically there's a certain look that really works on Instagram. And I do think because of social media, like a lot of aesthetics, we all take things from like celebrities and influencers that I don't think Hailey would be sitting there going, you know who I want to copy now? Sabrina Carpenter.
Well, I actually, not disagree, but I almost think from the series and maybe like even her statements and what she's telling like us, that it might not be that she's only obsessed with Selena. I think she takes inspiration from like a lot of women, but we only notice like Selena because of the Justin Bieber connect. Now, for example, if I saw your outfit and I'm like, oh my God, I love it, and then like no one would care because I'm not famous and whatever. But I do think that she takes maybe more inspiration from other women.
For sure. And I think that's normal.
Right. I think that's also something to like consider. Yes, it's Justin Bieber and Selena related, but it might also just be like she pulls
style influences.
Yeah. Or maybe obsessions. We don't know.
And I will say, I was there at the Short and Sweet Tour the night that she attended with Kendall Jenner.
That's what you did do.
It was amazing. Sabrina is talented and just a one of a kind, and the show is incredible. I'm not being paid to say this, but it really was incredible. And they were just having a good time and chilling. And in my mind, and maybe this is just like who I am, if I felt threatened by another woman that like my husband started following or became friends with because he's liked her posts and things like that, I don't know. I wouldn't want to put myself in like a screaming auditorium full of her fans, like watching her for 4 hours. Like it's a long concert, you know what I mean? So like,
now again, I love Hailey, but I'm going to say like what I think the commenters are saying.
Yeah.
I think they're saying, well, if Justin like is friends with her, like she doesn't have a choice. If she didn't go, then it's like tea.
But I don't know, was anyone expecting her to go to the show is the question, where it's like, because she went,
but
it
the
was
closer
tea.
she is, this is what the commenting is saying, okay?
We're playing devil's advocate.
We're playing devil's advocate. I don't have my own, I don't know what the hell is going on. But I think in terms of, I think if Hailey thinks that Justin's into Sabrina, being close with Sabrina, going to her concert, do you get what I'm saying?
I get that, yeah. And this is why I prefaced it by saying, like, I guess I'm just the kind of person that, like, if I were in that position, I'd just be like, I don't want to engage with this person.
Right, it depends on who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. I'll take that.
Okay, moving on to our next story. Lily Stewart, a 20-year-old from the University of Georgia, went viral because of a mugshot. Now, she was arrested because she was speeding, but her mugshot was posted on Mugshotties. I might be saying that wrong. But like on... Sorry.
It's so iconic. It really is.
And she is smiling almost as if she's like in a sorority picture. Like she looks very cute. But I just want to, before I get more into it, she was arrested because of speeding. And basically the cop pulled her over for going 79 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone in 10 in the morning, which is, she gets pulled over, she gets away with it. But then she is seen going 84 in a 55 and then arrested her. Which is kind of funny. Like, imagine getting pulled over, getting away with it, and being like,
never mind.
Here I go.
Whatever.
Speed racer. Like, I love it. People initially didn't know why she was arrested, and all the comments were only about, like, her appearance. But now knowing about the arrest and it being about speeding, all the comments are just flooded with funny jokes.
I cannot. The headrest one or the headboard, whatever.
No, the monogram headboard.
And that she probably had to go to the bathroom. I was like, because I mean, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Have we all been there driving 85 on a 55? Like, maybe not, but
Yeah.
I can't. People are too creative.
I love that she's kind of taking it like as a joke too. She posted like her mugshot on TikTok and then was like, here are some of my favorite comments.
Yeah.
And those were the comments.
And the literal sound she posted the comments with Vroom Vroom by Charlie XCX.
I love it. I love it.
Iconic.
I love it. I really hope that if I get arrested one day, it's like a gorgeous mugshot.
It looks like that and you get
yeah.
put on
Because I feel like that's a
socials.
flex. Like, and it's for speeding, like something cute. I
That's
guess.
the thing, is that like, she really like doubled down. She was like,
No, literally.
yeah, I sped twice.
No, I know.
And got arrested for it.
I know. In the end, Lily Stewart's attorney, Stephen Morris, tells us that he got the speeding charge against Lily dropped. And Morris says he informed the prosecutor that Lily was being targeted by online trolls who made a slew of vile comments after her mugshot went viral.
I thought
The charges were dropped.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize the comments were like violent or like invasive. I just thought it was.
I think it's
mean
just getting a lot of
ones.
like press.
Interesting. All right, on to our next story. This one is really sad and really terrifying. So, from the beginning of the story, TMZ has covered that the University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Konanki disappeared while on spring break in the Dominican Republic. And there's a person of interest in this case, Joshua Ribe, who was the last person to have seen her alive. Well, the development is that he is now free to leave the DR and return home.
And I know on like TikTok, in terms of like, you know, the people that are their age, and I mean, all college kids go on spring break, right? So
Yeah.
it's like terrifying for like, what happened here? Was it him? Was it like someone that lived there? Was it just natural causes? I mean, if you're that intoxicated, like a drowning or like, we have no idea, but this is crazy that they're letting him leave the Dominican Republic.
For sure. I mean, I guess if anything, like, you know, you would assume that officials knew what they were doing.
Right,
and
like they
there
wouldn't let
was-
him go if there was no evidence that he's a part of the
For sure.
disappearance. But it's crazy.
Or if he was even like suspected as having been a
Right.
significant part of it.
I know people are irritated that his story has changed and stuff like that, but I really feel so bad for the family, and just it hits close to home because all of us in college went on spring break to said place and got drunk.
All
had
of us
fun.
have done such dumb stuff when we were kids, and like, I mean, even now in our 20s. So it's
my
just
God, I
a
know.
shame that
Yeah.
like I've definitely had scary nights where I wake up the next morning and I'm like,
oh my God, I made it home.
Goodness,
Totally,
exactly. And, like,
totally,
the fact
totally.
that this kid did not is so heartbreaking. So obviously, like, prayers go out to the family and her friends too. And I know a lot of people
I was
have been
just gonna ask you
frustrated.
this.
But what I thought about the friends leaving her.
Yes. As like a woman, our rule is do not leave friends, right?
Yeah.
But how many times have you been with a friend? And this is what I'm always reading. Like,
Yeah.
how many times have you been with a friend that's with a guy, whatever, or with a girl, and they're like, no, I'm good. You can't like stay.
You can't be like, I'm just gonna sit,
And
down
watch
the
you
beach
make
from you.
out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's a
Like,
little awkward.
But a lot of people are blaming the friends. And I'm like, no. Like, if they just completely dismissed her and was like, bye, like, that's different. But we don't know.
And I think the thing that people have criticisms about with this timeline is, like, apparently her friends didn't report her missing for, like, a long time, like 12 hours after that.
Right.
And I think that's more so where I'm like, when I've had situations where, like, friends have gone home with someone from the club or whatever it is.
You don't know.
I'm like, I also do, though, message just being like, hey, just checking that, like, you made it home.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not that night, then, like, early the next morning, I'll be like, hey, just give me, like, a proof of life text. At the same time, like, they're on spring break, and, like, I don't want to say, like, because I've done this, they should have done it too. Like, I don't want to be that person, because you really can't control your friends. So I don't think they should be blamed, like, especially if it's, like, a really distressing situation. It's like one of their best friends has gone missing. They haven't heard from her, and they're also getting told, like, this is all your fault. That's probably very traumatizing too. Just the whole situation is messed up and terrifying. I just hope the family gets closure at the very least.
So I have a segment on Verified called Crumbs. Now, usually when Wild's here, I will give him the crumbs of the internet, something that he probably didn't see but would find interesting, funny, or like whatever. So today's story is British TikToker speaks out from hell on earth Thai prison. So basically, this girl is known for posting controversial content, and her name is Ellis Matthews. She's 32. And basically, she's posted on TikTok her POV of being in Thai prison. We're talking rats, insects, lice, and like real detailed video of the real POV, like her point of view. She's also there with her son, and she's in the Mothers and Children Immigration Detention Center in Bangkok with her 4-year-old son, Cairo. Now, she is like known for fleeing the UK and living this dream life in Thailand. But there's reports that she's been overstaying her visa, and this is the first time she is speaking out. But this is not a TMZ story. She talked to Mail Online, and basically she said, this is hell on earth. It's the worst prison that you can imagine. I'm locked up in a cell with 16 other people. It's so hot and overcrowded. And I guess the crumb of the internet for this is a bunch of people think she's like lying, like that she's not actually in prison, that the circumstances are not that bad, because like her whole thing is like, I left the UK to live like this amazing life in Thailand, and now she's in prison, and people think that she's sort of like lying.
So they think that she's like on a set instead and like filming from inside a quote unquote prison, but it's not actually a prison. Is that what they're like thinking she's doing?
I think they're alleging that maybe she, got in trouble for something else and is in there, and it's really not that. So basically all of the fans of hers are like the TikTokers think that she's lying.
Okay.
To like get clout. But basically the authorities have informed her that she will be deported once she's able to buy herself a ticket to the UK.
So she's stuck there because she hasn't bought a ticket.
Right. So that's why
okay, that's
the math
interesting.
isn't mathing.
And I would see if that were like, did the officials say this really recently, or has it been
this
around?
is the thing. She claims she can't buy the airline ticket because they won't give her access to her bank account.
But she has access to her phone.
That's what everyone's saying. Yeah.
And that I would understand the criticism, just because like in general, if you were detained that way, I don't think they would let you make content and post it.
Especially detailing how bad the prison is.
Yeah, it's a little.
So there's something dicey going on. I don't necessarily think it's not a prison from the videos though.
Right.
As you saw. But I think what the commenters are saying is like, what's going on here? And she's, is she using it for class? I mean, what a great story though.
I mean, we're talking about it.
Yeah.
All the way over here.
And then she says she can't go back to the UK because she's afraid that the UK will take her kid from her.
Because she took him, or she ran away from the UK to go to Thailand with the kid. Okay, and how old is the kid? Is it like a baby?
He is 4 years old.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, the circumstances aren't great, but why this is like my favorite story of the day, per se, and why I'm bringing it to you as a crumb, is because what's the line of like getting clout, right? Like we'll make up that we're in Thai prisons. We'll make up that like I'm really suffering. Like there's people who've lied about cancer, like all that stuff. What's the line of like being an influencer and like getting content? Like now you have to lie because your life isn't like that interesting. Like where's the line? I think that's more of like why it's a crumb of the internet today.
That's a good crumb.
I will be keeping up with this story personally because I want to see if she actually goes back to the UK, if she leaves the prison, if she keeps posting videos from the prison because I want to see the prison content. I know it's horrible to say, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I just want to see what it's like in there, but we will keep you updated on this. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Verified. Thank you, Chantel, for hosting with me. Wild, we miss you, but I feel like you killed it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was fun. We'll see you in next week's episode. Hope you enjoyed. Comment down below so I can read your mean comments next week.
Bye.
Bye.